Welcome to the third video in this series on Crouton. In this video, I will explore Crouton shortcodes and how you can parameterize them to tune your meeting list to the needs of your community. Although I will be using WordPress, all the configuration options you see here are also available on other frameworks. You have to set the parameters in the JavaScript yourself, but they are there. Since I'm going to be illustrating the effect of each attribute, let me start with a simple page with a single, unparameterized shortcode on it. This is the WordPress page editor's source for the page. And this is how the page looks. You'll notice that I've configured Crouton to query the server for meetings in the Berlin area. The first thing I want to do is add some shortcodes I didn't show in the earlier videos. Let's say I want to display the service body name as a sort of title for this page. I can do that by adding the shortcode service underscore body underscore names to my page. This is how the page now looks. I also might want to display a count of the number of meetings in the area. I do this by adding the meeting underscore count shortcode. I'll add a little text here too so that visitors know what it means. And now I see the number of meetings. I can add the attribute live equals 1 to either of these shortcodes. I'll add it in here. The meeting count will now reflect the number of meetings in the table after any filters have been applied. So if I filter on English language meetings, the meeting count is updated to reflect this. Another shortcode that can be used on the page is group underscore count. For Crouton, groups are meetings that are in the same service body, have the same name, and share the same location. Later in the video, I'll have a lot more to say about how Crouton's tables and maps can be organized by groups rather than meetings, so stay tuned for that. Sometimes, people want the meeting count on a page on which there is no Crouton table. These shortcodes are not meant to be used by themselves. They are meant to provide additional information about a table and cannot modify the query, as the main shortcodes can. If you want to use meeting count, group count, or service body names on a page that doesn't have a Crouton table on it, you can replace bmlt tabs with the init underscore Crouton shortcode. Like this. And as you can see, meeting count is still calculated, but there is no Crouton display. I'll go back to the bmlt tab shortcode. Okay, now we can turn to how the main shortcodes can be parameterized. First of all, everything that was specified on the Crouton configuration page can be overridden in the shortcode. For instance, I can make the map visible by adding show underscore map equals 1 to the shortcode. We can also override the service body, but first, we have to find the ID of the service body we want. You can ask your bmlt admin for this, but you can also find it in the Crouton configuration page. Here, in the dropdown where I select service bodies, this number here is the ID. Let's say I want to change the service body to the entire region. The ID would be 1. And I can find the name of the attribute I need to set by looking in the documentation here. So, let me add that to the shortcode. So as you can see, we now get all the meetings in the German region. Notice that all service body names are listed. This is maybe too much information. I can use the shortcode root underscore service underscore body if I only want to list parent service body. So, attributes in the shortcode can overwrite the settings made in the backend. But there's more. We can add attributes to the URL, just add them to the query string, that's the part after the question mark, and those parameters will overwrite the parameters in the shortcode. I haven't changed the page at all, but it now shows the service body set by the URL. Suppose we are building a regional website, and we want a separate meeting list page for every area in the region. Well, using this technique, we could use the same page definition, only changing the links. What about lists of online meetings? We can add parameters to the shortcode that limit the query results to in-person or virtual meetings. To do this, we must know that a venue type 1 indicates an in-person meeting, a venue type of 2 indicates a virtual meeting, and a venue type of 3 indicates a hybrid meeting. Hybrid meetings count as both in-person and virtual. So, to list virtual meetings, I can add venue types equals 2 to the shortcode. Since virtual meetings don't have a location, I will also set show_map to 0. Now the list contains only online meetings. Similarly, we can limit the query results to a particular format. I can add formats equals en to my shortcode. This is the format code on the German site for English language meetings. As you can see, the list now only contains English language meetings. I can also exclude the English language meetings from my list. I just prefix the en with a minus sign, and the list now contains no English meetings. The format list can also be comma separated. So if I add comma F, I will get all non-English speaking women's meetings. With these filters applied, there are only a few meetings in the list. In such cases, having different tabs for each weekday is just confusing. If it happens to be a day for which the tab is empty, visitors might think there are no meetings at all. Therefore, by default, Crouton switches to a plain list if there are fewer than 20 meetings in the list. This can be adjusted with the filter_tabs attribute. Set it to 0, and the list always has tabs. We've looked at how to adjust the query. Now let's look at how to adjust the behavior of the map. I'm going to set show_map to 1 so we can see the map. By default, BMLT tabs will adjust the map to show all the meetings in the query. But maybe we want to start off showing only those meetings close to the user. I can accomplish this by setting center_me to 1. I'm changing my browser's resolution so you can see the table and map together. What I want to show is that as I move around in the map or zoom in or out, the table shows exactly those meetings that are currently visible in the map. If this is not what you want, you can turn off this behavior using the filter_visible attribute. Now, the table contains all meetings independently of what we can see on the map. Filter visible is on by default when you use goto or center_me. Crouton is written with the attic looking for the next meeting in mind, and the fact that some meetings are organized into groups is not by default reflected in the tables generated by Crouton. Crouton does, however, provide a group-oriented display. I'm switching the BMLT server to Iran since meetings in Iran are mostly organized into groups. Let's add groups equals 1 to our shortcode and see what happens. This is how the Crouton display looks by default. The table cannot be organized by time anymore. These headings show the cities. If I had used center_me or goto, I would also be able to sort by distance. Here in the first column is the group name and the group formats. In the middle column is the address, and underneath that the days and times of the group's meetings. In the third column is our usual set of actions. I'll click on the Details button. In this display is not only a map and the details of the group, but also information about every meeting, including the meeting's format. This all looks rather odd because Crouton is still set to English, but the meeting data is in Persian. To fix this, and to show off Crouton's multilingual capabilities, which includes right-to-left text, I'll quickly set Crouton's language to Farsi. In this video series, I've tried to show some of the ways you can use Crouton to display meeting lists. Obviously, I can't show everything or answer all questions. Please contact us if you need support. I also want to mention the Crouton is open source. If you are an NA member who would like to contribute, please have a look at our GitHub. Thanks for watching and have a great 24 hours.